It is straight up 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans are adding to their front office staff, according to a report this morning by Albert Breer, hiring Falcons college scouting director Anthony Robinson to join Chad Brinker as assistant general manager. Lamar Jackson officially signing his 5-year contract worth $260 million in total money. The signing bonus, $72.5 million. That is the most ever for an NFL contract, surpassing Dak Prescott. Vanderbilt heads down to Tuscaloosa tonight, some college baseball. Game 1 of a 3-game series between the Vandy boys and the Crimson Tide. Meanwhile, the Crimson Tide have fired head baseball coach Brad Bohannon for violating the standards, duties, and responsibilities expected of a university employee. From a statement by the University of Alabama, the decision comes after reports of suspicious wagering activity surrounding Alabama baseball games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the weekend. If you're in town to see Taylor Swift, enjoy yourself. There's like everything in the world is going on in Nashville this weekend. Everything. It's everything season in Nashville.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was just attended the Walk of Fame there. Yours truly, our good friend Butch Bearden got inducted to the Walk of Fame today. I was down there. And
that's
that was
fantastic,
cool.
Butch.
Yeah, it was cool. Cool to get invited and everything.
Fitting to do that this week.
Yeah.
This is a Butch Spirited week in Nashville.
Wow, what else is going on?
Everything.
Yeah, man. I hope it doesn't rain. It was beautiful weather out there, too, man. So hopefully it's some beautiful weather with Taylor Swift. I hear it's supposed to rain. So our in-house meteorologist there, Mickey Ryan, said it's supposed to be some rain on occasion there at Nissan Stadium. So I hope it holds out at the nighttime, huh?
I've been studying this. Let me ask you. I've been studying the weather. They're thinking maybe they can squeeze in a concert like tonight, maybe in between. I guess it starts early-ish.
Yeah.
Because I guess she's got some super young fans, so they're not waiting all night to start it. It starts early.
Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
is the
sorry,
first one.
tomorrow.
Yeah, he keeps thinking today is Friday.
Yeah, today's not Friday, even though in my mind,
weekend.
maybe in my heart it is. It's tomorrow is Friday. Maybe it will rain before Taylor Swift plays. Then there might be some stuff after, or just like small intermittent stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, and then everybody be out there partying to the tardy downtown.
Okay,
on Broadway.
Since this came up, I want to ask you guys. Because I'd written it in my notes for this week. I thought maybe a Friday thing. But since it came up, I'll ask you, and I'll ask anybody who's listening. Here's the reason I'm asking.
Is Levis going to be at Taylor Swift's concert? Is that what
No, but it wouldn't. No, he may not even be here yet.
Well,
But if he's here, he's
he
young.
get here
and
early, get the playbook.
He doesn't have his contract signed, so he doesn't have crazy disposable income yet. But they're all.
What are you talking about, man? They got loans from the age and stuff, man. They got to pay it back with
He
some
made
interest,
NIL money. He's got money. He's good. So I'll ask you guys. I'll ask anybody listening, Zone TV chat, Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045. There are all these stories about people spending thousands to see Taylor Swift. Thousands.
Oh, really?
There's a story about a lady on the news last night who got scammed trying to buy tickets.
Oh, yeah. They said do not buy any tickets outside the stadium.
And this
I
was
saw that on the news.
And this was a sweet lady with young kids, and she said we saved, and as part of the story they showed like a picture of the screen, and I swear the number was $4,000 that she had been scammed out of trying to buy. I'll ask you guys this.
Man, dang, that's more than bamboozled.
$4,000.
Oh, that hurts.
What is the most you would pay to see anybody in concert? How much and who?
Well, where am I sitting?
Anywhere. You can sit anywhere.
Or if I'm sitting on the front row.
Yeah. Like your favorite, if somebody's.
I
Who did
don't
you
know.
listen to before the games that you told us? You were listening to laid back music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Little Sade.
Yeah.
Sade comes to Nashville to the Ryman, and you know how good that would be.
That would be awesome.
It would be incredible.
Sade at the
Because her
Ryman.
band is incredible. Her stuff was absolutely mind-numbingly amazing. And then she was Sade on top of that. Beautiful.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
And Lucas got a bunch of favorite bands. So you think favorite venue, favorite band, and like Blaine said, like You're going to spend the money. You're going to sit on the front row. You get the good seats. What's the most you'd spend?
That's really hard for me to say. Like, I could say whatever it takes for me. I mean, like,
Mickey, if you could bring back Tom Petty.
I saw Tom Petty.
Yes, I know that's one of my biggest musical regrets is I never got to see Tom Petty before he passed. If Tom Petty could come back to life, or if Pink Floyd could tour again, I would dip into my savings account and grab like $600, $700 out of there.
You mentioned a reunited Pink Floyd. That might be the one for me because I never saw them.
Me neither.
If David Gilmour and Roger Waters had buried the hatchet and tour again, they could name their price. Name it. They could name their price.
How bad do I want to go? And I think I would be, man, I think I could go pretty high if I want to be there really bad. Yeah. A good example of that is I asked my wife last weekend, Memphis Grizzlies were playing L.A. in Memphis. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, you want to go to the game? Because I'm thinking about going because I want to see Ja Morant versus LeBron James, right? Cool. Oh, man, that's great. And she says, well, sure, but where would we be sitting? It's the first thing come out of my wife's mouth. I said, I don't know. I think I can. I was messing with her, but I said, I'm sure I can get some upper decks. It's just the best with her, right? She said, so we're going to drive three or something hours to go sit in the upper deck? Nah, I'm not in on that. Well, naturally, I had better tickets than that, but it wasn't going to be like anything on the front row. But it made me think about how much would I pay, how far would I go to pay for front row tickets to be at that playoff game. And they were getting into the thousands if you wanted it to. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Like how many thousand? Like 10,000? 15, 20?
No, that
8,
wasn't
5?
No, it wasn't going over 2 for me for no NBA game. it wasn't like the finals or something.
Right.
So, so it was just kind of interesting, kind of the back and forth, like now hearing like, what would I pay? I think whatever, as long as it's reasonable, if I want to go see Taylor Swift at this point in my life, I'm going. I'm going.
Just whatever it costs.
Yeah, I'm going to get it. Yeah, not unless it's unreasonable. Like, whoa, man, dang, you know what I could do for $10,000? Like, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Lethal Latin 615 in the Zone TV chat says Drake tickets are maxing out at $4K a ticket. For that much, I'm going to run up on stage and sing real quick. Real Hip Hop 71. This is Zone TV chat says Beyonce at one time were up to 10 to 12,000.
What?
10.
Ooh, I like 12. Me some Beyonce, but I can't.
So that again,
I don't know, but Janet Jackson though.
Ooh, yeah, Janet's in town.
Nasty. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's how I know because I'm going down this lounge and list of things. Yeah, man.
What do you think Janet Jackson tickets are? They're actually really not that bad.
They're not. How much are they?
You can get like upper. She's in Bridgestone. You can get upper level, like 300 level for $60. That's before fees, so maybe it could be like $100.
How much mid level?
200 level, about $200.
Okay,
and then or $100. Yeah, and then down low, you're getting into the 200 and 300 level kind of area.
Okay. Again,
I would do that for sure.
Let's say Janet. It's Miss Jackson. If you're nasty, and let's say you're nasty, and you want to see Miss Jackson.
Yeah, in the backstage, in the back room.
Yeah, you
get to meet her and everything.
You want the experience. See, that's
ooh, I like that. I think I would go a couple G's.
2 G's?
Yeah, I think I'd do that.
Like a G a piece or 2 G's for you and 2 G's for Mama?
Oh, wow. Nah, G a piece. Yeah, Janet, she ain't that nasty. Oh, man, 170-ish. I'm seeing $400-ish.
Yeah, people are
$100.
There's sensible people in this chat.
Yeah, because it's expendable income. It's a matter of how much do you want it. Like I'm sure everybody could pay, to a certain extent. They got the limits, but hey, man, I want to go.
I think at some point though,
other special stuff like behind the scenes. That's what really tops the cake.
I try to think about this because you guys know how I am about music. And I started thinking about, like, okay, who have I not seen that's still alive?
They're still performing.
Like, I've seen the Stones multiple times. Mm-hmm. I got to see Paul McCartney here, a living Beatle, which just blew my mind. And all the heavy metal bands that I ever liked, I got to see all of them. like Alice Cooper, and I shook his hand, and it was awkward. I've told that story before because I forgot to let go of his hand, and then I realized like 8 seconds in, I still have his hand. Then
That's another question there. Who would you be starstruck with if you met?
I was pretty starstruck by Alice Cooper. I've seen Kiss so many times. I never got to see them in the 70s when they were true Kiss, like Aerosmith and Metallica, who's incredible. I've seen them. I got to see Prince. I saw Prince.
I saw Prince.
I saw Prince on like the third row.
Ooh.
That's some of the best seats I ever had, and maybe the best concert I ever saw.
Dang. Wow.
Nick says Ludacris was with Janet too. You can see Luda. I'd much rather see Janet than Luda. But like Lucas said, Tom Petty. Tom Petty would have been that for me, but I got to see him. When I lived back in Arkansas, I saw Tom Petty.
But what would you have paid? What would it cost? I mean, what would you go? How high?
You know what? For that one, I was really lucky. I had a friend that I had helped with a bunch of stuff, like move this, move that, do this, do that. He bought the tickets, and they were good, like lower level seats. They were probably $300 a piece.
To see Tom Petty?
See Tom Petty.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And it was really good. And my friend kept saying he'll play only songs that you know. And I know a lot of Tom Petty songs because I listened to the whole records. But that night he did the most obscure set list. Yeah. He just did all this stuff that he never did. So I can honestly say I saw probably one of the most unique Tom Petty shows. He played all these songs that even I was like, man, this is pretty obscure. Wow, this is one I haven't heard in a long time. But it's still great. The band was incredible. But like the reunited Pink Floyd, he may have one. Because those dudes have not talked or played together, the two main guys who sang and one played bass and one played guitar. Them getting back together might be – I saw Guns N' Roses when they came back.
Yeah, they're coming to Geodis Park this summer.
Guns N' Roses?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they have some nice tricks that they do. Like they have a lady who plays keyboards, and she sings all the high notes because you can't sing high notes forever. Nobody can.
Yeah.
So you employ younger people to sing the high parts. That's a great trick that artists have been doing for years.
What? $45? Wu-Tang, Nas, and Nelly for $45 in August. Some people say they go up to $2,000, $3,000.
You just start getting into like if you're just regular folks living your life, like not super wealthy of any kind, and you start thinking, man, you go down to Florida for a few days for a few $1,000s. Would you rather do that, or would you rather, have
Orlando?
Great, yeah, or anywhere, great seats to see Janet or Luda or Drake or the $10,000 for Beyonce? Holy cow! I mean, holy.
Oh yeah, I told you
I wouldn't pay $10,000 to see anybody.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't think I would either.
It must be. They got a lot of other things got to come with that. No, I'm talking about like backstage passes.
Okay. I have no idea where that was going. I'm like, you must really like Luda.
I get to sit down for an hour. Maybe we even get to go out to eat or something, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
It's a nice evening.
Yeah. This is
steak dinner included.
Yeah. Me and my wife and Beyonce. She could throw in her husband too.
Tim in Goodlettsville. This may be exorbitant. He's talking about Lakers tickets. Tim, did you spend a little money to see some basketball?
Well, man, my sweet wife for my 50th birthday got me Lakers tickets. I'm a big sports fan, and she wanted to do something special since I was aging out. And she did all the legwork, and Kobe passed away, and they were canceling games. And so she's like so stressed out because she's thinking, we're going to fly to L.A. and there's not even going to be a game. Well, on the days that led up to that, they were going to have the game. We went. It was unbelievable. But we were in line, and I heard what the prices were going for. And I'm 50 now, guys. I don't want something shiny. I want some money. And I'm thinking $5,000 a ticket. Honey, let's sell.
And what'd she say?
Well, so she would have been heartbroken, bro. So I stuck to it, and we got to see the music thing at halftime with Boyz II Men and Charlie Puth. And honestly, I had to get a Kleenex out if we're telling the truth. But it was absolutely phenomenal. But she's turning 50 this year.
Oh, you got to match this energy.
Yes. So this is going to hurt. I need that $5,000 for those tickets now. But we're going to see Chris Stapleton in August in Georgia with oh gosh, the new guy, Marcus.
Marcus
Oh
King.
my gosh, Marcus King.
Oh, nice.
And we just found he was going to be on there. So I hope that and a nice dinner is going to get me off the hook, but we'll see.
Well, hey, that'll be a great show,
Yeah,
Tim.
that
Thank you
sounds
for
like
checking
pretty
in.
I saw them together last year. That will be a great show.
Yeah,
Seen
I've heard
Stapleton.
this numerous times though. It's cheaper to drive to Indianapolis to see anybody and spend the night than it would be to pay for one ticket.
To see him here.
Here, because everything's just like no different than hotels. Like a friend of mine was looking at hotels here. He said, "Hey, man, this is like you live in New York." I said,
we
"What?"
same prices.
Yeah, he said, "Man, I don't know what's going on there in Nashville, but they off the charts, man, right now."
I'll tell you what's going on in Nashville now. When we come back, the guy who coached new Titans tight end Josh Wiley in college, his position coach, Nate Letton, he's at the University of Wisconsin now. Let's get some inside scoop on the new Titans tight end next with a guy who knows him well. NBA playoffs are here. Y'all are watching. You know how much fun this has been. Why not turn some of these crossovers and three-pointers into some cash with FanDuel? That's right. You just visit FanDuel.com/Mickey right now. That's the promo code. And place a $5 bet. You're going to get an instant $150 in bonus bets back. That's win or lose. Look, this NBA playoff stuff, you love it. You stay up late. You're watching these games. Maybe Warriors, Lakers tonight. I'll take the Warriors tonight. Well, whatever you like, whatever you're enjoying, feel like you got some inside info. There's no better place to place a bet than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Again, you just go to FanDuel.com/Mickey. Sign up to get $150 in bonus bets back when you place your first bet. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. You do have to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redlining 1-800-889-9789. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Titans draft picks getting ready to roll into Nashville. Let's dig a little deeper with some of these guys. Maybe get this guy on the phone with us. Nate Letton, former Cincinnati tight ends coach. He's now at the University of Wisconsin, but he worked with Josh Wiley at Cincinnati. And Nate, fantastic having you on the line with us today. Thanks for taking the time.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, let me ask you this, because it's well known that Luke Fickell, Mike Vrabel, great friends. We had Josh on the show, and we kind of asked him, like, did you get some insider dirt on Vrabel, learn how to deal with him? And he said, not necessarily that, but I feel like I know him because I know Coach Fick. They seem to be similar, have similar coaching styles. This does seem like a good fit for a guy to come from that system to Mike Vrabel's system.
I couldn't agree anymore. I don't think there's a better fit for Josh because, I think the thing Tennessee fans are going to learn about Josh is, he's really talented in multiple ways. But I think the thing that's most impressive about him is his toughness. I know it's a trademark down there. It's a trademark, with Coach Fickell at Cincinnati and now at Wisconsin. And he totally embodies that. So I think people are going to be really pleased with that.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to seeing him play. Let me ask you this. You know how you got to sometimes write a report in college or whatever, you got to put your hypothesis down, then you got to prove it.
Sure.
So as somebody said, you got to write a paper. You work in the college world. You're helping these guys with their schoolwork. Somebody,
my coach helped me every moment I knew.
I was actually a biology major, so if that tells you anything, how good I was at biology. But I've done a couple lab reports in my day, so
I understand
what you're putting down there.
So what's your hypothesis then on Josh Wiley and what kind of pro he'll be?
I think he's going to last a long time. I think you guys got him at tremendous value in the 5th round. Like I said, to me, the most impressive thing about Josh, right? He's 6'7", he's 250 pounds. He runs incredibly well. I think he's a 4.6 at the combine. All those things are great, right? He's rangy. He runs great routes, great ball skills, huge catch radius. He's a willing and capable blocker, both in line and in the backfield. So I think it gives you versatility, number one. But number two, like I said, the thing that it had always impressed me the most about Josh, right, is, on the coaching spectrum, I'm relatively young, right? We had him and Leonard Taylor, both 5th-year guys, highly productive in our system at Cincinnati. They get me, who they had only known as a grad assistant up to the point as their coach. And Josh, the very first day I was announced, he came up and he said, hey, I want to learn more about football. I want to learn more about the blocking game. I want to take my game to the next level because I know how I work within the system, but I want to know how the system works around everything else. And I thought that was really impressive that, a guy like him at that point, Cincinnati, may have not shown as much humility to a new coach, right? But the only thing he cared about was getting better, and the only thing he cared about was, what he could do to help our team win. And I thought that spoke, volumes to his character and his desire to be a great teammate. And I think that's what ultimately lasts at that level. So I'm really excited for him. I'm excited for Tennessee fans. And I think he's going to be a phenomenal pro, have a great long career.
Getting some inside stuff here with Coach Nate Letton, formerly with Cincinnati, tight ends coach, now at the University of Wisconsin.
Well, Coach Letton, I guess I don't know if that was the answer to this question, but that I'm going to ask. But tell us something that we don't know about Josh.
Well, I'll tell you, you'll have to get him, somebody in the media will have to get him at some point. He's an excellent dancer.
Okay, that's perfect.
Right?
Man, 6'6", 6'7" dancer?
And some of his he may not want that information out there.
That's good.
But somebody's got to pressure him. He's got a little wiggle to him. So, he's always, doing some silly stuff in the meeting rooms and whatnot. So, but I'll see if I if this reaches him. I'm sure I'll get a text message at some point about it.
Oh yeah, I'm expecting that. I'm gonna see him doing some spinning on his back at 6'7", man. That's gonna be something kind of crazy. But yeah, that's pretty cool there, man, Coach. You talked about his skill set, and you really broke him down, did a great job. But if you were gonna make a comparison to a player that's now, or a player that we would know, maybe it's a retired player that he could potentially become at tight end, who is that NFL player or former player?
Oh man, I don't know if I want to put a comparison on. That was a good job trying to do that.
Right, that's it. Potentially.
No, I understand, but to me, Josh is going to be somebody who's incredibly versatile, and I think he gives you a lot. he's not the heaviest guy in the world, but, he plays incredibly big. So I think he just gives you a tremendous amount of variety in what you can do in the offensive system, right? He can line up in the backfield. We put him in the I formation this year. Obviously, he's great flexed out. So I don't know whose skill set that would most compare to, but I think you're getting a complete tight end, right? You're getting a complete player. That I think is going to give you guys a lot of versatility down there.
Well, I'm always interested in this, especially at the college level, being that I play college football, in that when was the time or moment, I know you caught him at the end, that you knew that you could trust him on the field? Regardless of the outcome, certain players you just, I don't trust me, I don't know the plays, or they're not going to run precise routes, or whatever it may be. When was that moment?
Well, I tell you, Josh had a nice career. I got there in 2020 as the offensive line grad assistant. And, so we were kind of, the O-line guys were kind of in our own world there. But I tell you, in the COVID year of 2020, we went down to Central Florida. Didn't know much about Josh from a personality standpoint. Knew he was a really good player. Don't think I had seen anything incredibly, maybe not lived up to his bill so far. I can't remember what his stat line was there, but it just felt like it was a dominating performance. It was a dominating performance both in the pass game and in the run game. And that's when I kind of knew, as a new coach on staff, as a young coach on staff, oh, this dude is different. You know what I mean? He knows what's going on. He knows how to make plays in big-time situations. It was a really tight game, obviously in a weird environment. So that was when I think, and then obviously I felt like every day the way he approached. I mean, he really approached last year like a pro, in my opinion. He was done with his degree. He was in the building all day. I mean, when he was still rehabbing his foot, he was in the building at 4:30 every day in the spring through into the first phase of summer before he was fully cleared. He's wired a little differently. He takes his development very seriously. So if I had to put it on a point, I would say that was just an unbelievable productive game. But every day that I worked with him, I never walked away thinking I wish I would have got more from Josh.
Yeah. Sounds like a variable guy. Sounds like a guy I would love too. I guess lastly, from a coach's perspective, how does Josh handle criticism and how does he handle praise, especially this new generation of players? And I know coaches kind of teeter the fence a little bit, and depending on who they are. But how did he handle those type of criticism, especially you coming in at the end and all of a sudden maybe you correct him on something he had maybe been doing for a while there?
Exactly right. Well, you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, and I'll be totally honest from my perspective too. There's a little bit of hesitancy about, trying to coach a really productive, player coming at the end of his career. But, we kind of ventured into that. I mean, the great thing is you don't have to coach Josh very loud. He's incredibly hard on himself anyways. But he is not going to shy away from criticism. He's going to try and do everything you ask him to the letter that you're asking of him. And like I said, praise, that doesn't affect him at all. He's like, hey, what's the next thing? I want to move on. I want to get better. So say I'm proud of Josh would be an understatement. I'm so excited that he's down there. And I think you've alluded to it a couple times. I think it's just going to be a perfect match. And I think it's going to be a really successful career for him down there.
We're on with former Josh Wiley's coach, Coach Letton, who now currently is with Wisconsin football coach.
So, Coach, one of the things that I saw in Josh's bio when we asked him about it, we were able to speak to him a little bit before we spoke to you, was he had managed to put on a fair amount of weight while he was at Cincinnati. And I guess even up to his senior year, he was still gaining weight. I told him, same thing had happened to me, but it wasn't necessarily a good thing in college. But for him, at his size and length, he obviously carried it well because he made Bruce Feldman's freaks list.
Absolutely. That was something he definitely knew was, some of the feedback he had gotten coming back for his fifth year was, we want to know if this guy can actually gain weight and sustain it. And that was a big point of emphasis for him. I know he was working with a nutritionist quite a bit. And like I said, just took his development very seriously. So not that he didn't before then, right? But I think it takes a little while to figure out your body and figure out how to keep weight on. And obviously there towards the end, he did a tremendous job and it was great weight. I mean, he busted his tail in weight room all spring and summer now. I'll tell you what, I mean, it was kind of freaky. So, he did a great job with that and still moved around great. I think weighed in at, a little over 250 pounds and still ran a 4.6 at the combine. So, obviously found out how to carry it and how to still be explosive and be quick with it.
Was he just like drinking raw eggs in the tight ends room in between practices and
Well,
things?
He's doing the Rocky Balboa stuff,
right,
right?
right.
He would always come into the meeting room with some sort of meal prep, and I'm like, dude, listen, get that out of here, okay? Eat all the broccoli and the salmon somewhere else, all right?
I'm sure that smelled
I probably wasn't
fantastic.
the best influence, you know?
Obviously, looking at Cincinnati and the record the last few years, I mean, it's been over 40 wins in the last 4 years, and just all the success. Bunch of NFL dudes and a bunch of dudes getting a chance. Another one of those guys, undrafted free agent running back Charles McClellan. He wasn't in your room, but any kind of scouting report you can give on him? I know he seems to be super fast.
He is. He's got breakaway speed. He's got, the thing about Chuck that I think was the most impressive of his game, and I'm not a running back expert by any stretch, so don't, take it all with a grain of salt, but I thought he had excellent vision. He protected the football well, and he's tough. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he doesn't shy away from contact in the protection game and the run game. Obviously, he's a finisher. And he's just got a phenomenal personality. I think, you guys are going to really enjoy getting to know him. He's got a bubbly personality. He's always smiling. Nothing ever gets him down. So I'm very excited for Chuck, and again, think it will be a great fit for him.
Coach Nate Letton, he is on Twitter at Nate Letton, former Cincinnati tight ends coach, now with the University of Wisconsin, talking about Josh Wiley, new Titans tight end that he coached.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, I guess I asked Josh yesterday what was his, favorite play that, somebody could go watch a highlight and say, oh, man, and encapsulate everything about him. You coached him his last year or two. Give us your play during that time, what you think is his best play.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you two, right? I'll
Okay.
give you two. We're in a tight game down at Central Florida. We end up losing it. We had kind of, but this is a pivotal moment of the game. I think this touchdown actually put us up. And we're down at Central Florida. We're probably on the 15-yard line or so, and ball's on the left hash, and we move him from, kind of in the backfield from a traditional tight end area, and we flex him out to the number one receiver into the boundary. And we just run like a little slant, a little glance route, skinny post into the end zone. And it's just like, to me, it was a culmination of all the things that we had trained him to do. Now, it's not going to be the most exceptional catch you've ever seen, but the route technique, right, the focus, the discipline,
fundamentally.
the situation, I thought was outstanding. And then, just kind of speaking to his versatility, you talk about a guy who can make somebody miss and run a really crisp and clean route in a critical time. We also put him in the backfield against Tulsa, and we're just running a little, G scheme over there to the right, probably on like the 30-yard line. I think it was a 3rd and 1 situation. We really haven't, been very productive on offense up to this point in this day. We getting, 22 personnel. And like I said, we put him in the backfield, put his hand down in a traditional fullback spot. He hits it right in the C gap, and just totally, just absolutely collapses, right? 2 gaps and 2 people, and we hit a 35-yard touchdown, kind of untouched right there. So those are 2 of my favorites from Josh this past year for sure.
Man, so you saw the culmination now, him being a receiver out of the backfield to, he's not really a good blocker to becoming a really good blocker and runner as always he was before. And I guess when I look back at college, I'm always, you try to put guys in categories. I don't know how you guys do it. Maybe you can give me a better analogy. Would you say he was more a leader, follower, somewhere in between, or whatever categories y'all kind of put guys? You can kind of break them down for us here on air here in Nashville.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about Josh is I think if you look at his first couple years on campus, he's definitely a follower. I think he'll tell you that too. And that was something that we challenged him, coming out of the 21 season, we lose a tremendous number of guys, including 9 draft picks. You're talking about, guys like Desmond Ridder, Sauce Gardner, highly prolific guys with, tremendous leadership characteristics. So Josh was never really put in a position to have to be a leader, right? And then we come into the 22 season. Not that we didn't have leadership, but we were definitely trying to develop it. We were definitely trying to find it and push people into uncomfortable situations. And I thought the way Josh just approached his business, he didn't have to ever say much. Like the way he was going about his work, people wanted to follow him. And to me, that's the most natural form of leadership and something that I think, hopefully permeated throughout our team and specifically on offense.
Nate Letton, former Cincinnati tight ends coach. All right, on the way out, I just wanted to ask you this because preparing for this interview, I noticed a couple things on your schedule. You guys played Tulane each of the last 2 years. Tyjae Spears also drafted to the Titans this year. I know you were working with the offense. I know you had your own world going on. But do you have any memories? Because it looked like he had some pretty good success against you guys. Just any thoughts about him on the way out since you were with the team that had to face him?
That dude's a football player. I'll leave it at that. He's a ball player. He's big. He's physical. He's fast. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, my second to last game in Cincinnati, we lost to that dude. It kind of broke our – I forget. We had some sort of unbelievable home winning streak. And he was the guy that was definitely involved in breaking that. So he's an unbelievable player. You guys are going to love him. So I'm excited for him as well. Excited for all those American Conference guys.
All right, I didn't mean to drag up any bad memories there, Coach. Hey,
it did get a little sour there for a second, didn't it?
Yeah.
But no, it's great.
Thank you for the time. Hey, thank you for the time. Best of luck to you guys up in Wisconsin, and we'll certainly be watching you and the Badgers this year too, man. Thank you. And
Appreciate it, Coach.
When you get down here to see Josh, come hang out with us.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for the time, and appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Yes, sir. Nate Letton, tight end coach, now with Wisconsin, Coach Josh Wiley at Cincinnati. Yeah, and doing a little bit of digging. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I saw he went to Center, too.
Yeah,
as a
Center
player.
College.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people here go to Center.
He did.
Never heard of it.
And has been shooting up the coaching ranks
Quickly.
along the way.
You're listening to him, man. You see why.
Yeah, he could do this show.
Yeah.
He was, he was jumping right in.
I don't know if some people understood some of the lingo he was talking about. These are some of
throwing
the
down
things
gaps and things, yeah.
that I got tips on. John McClain, I'm going to name his name, said, do not do that because you're going to lose people. Unless, they're one. So he says, act as though you're talking to your wife. That's what I do when I'm explaining football.
When you're talking to Mickey?
Yes.
No, but
he
no,
saves
when I'm
that
talking
for
to our
me.
audience.
Yes.
No, when I'm talking to our audience, that's what John McClain said to do because, they don't want to hear all that football. They don't know it.
Didn't play high-level football,
Right,
a lot
exactly.
of people.
Yeah,
So
it was
when
a
you
great
start
recommendation to me, and I've never done that.
when you start, well, that's why you're the best in the city at breaking down football because you put it in language that everybody understands because you talk to Lucas and me. You make it so us dummies can follow along.
No, I'm talking.
All right, we were having some
Fans,
fun to
man.
start the show because all the Taylor Swift fans are in town. And it was how much would you pay to see your favorite artist? Somebody in the Zone TV chat has put a Titan slant to that question that I think a bunch of you, whatever you'd pay to see your favorite artist, you'd double it at least for this Titans-related question next on Blaine and Mickey.
Will Levis, quarterback.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. So here's the number. Jonah Reels in the Zone TV chat. Put it out there because this is going to happen in 2027. They're going to get a new stadium right down the road from here.
Dang. Oh, man. That's yeah, don't get me going. I don't think most of the players on the team going to be on the team. I don't even know if I'm going to be on this team.
We're going to set an over-under one day of how many current – okay. How many current players –
2027?
3.5? Would you set the over-under?
Yeah, just under
3.
5.
Big Jeff, maybe? Chig, Burks, Levis.
Well, all the guys that got drafted high. So I don't even know if Spears going to make it.
4.5. Well, doctors
Spears
say
going to make it, Lucas.
3, 4, 5, 6. So if his 4-year knee is 4 years, and he can go over there and see it.
Even if he's still going good, they still may go in a different route just because they know it's coming.
Well, and the rhetoric is don't give any running back a second contract. So if you believe
just
that,
go draft one.
Yeah, just draft another one.
Or you can just sign one out there on free agency that's, economical. I saw my man McKinney got signed back to the Chiefs. Man, I liked him.
Oh,
man, I liked him.
Yep.
He run hard.
Jared
he
McKinney.
hard. He can catch.
This is from Jonah Reels in the Zone TV chat. So we're talking about what would you pay to see your favorite music artist, and this is the mind blower. What would you pay to watch the Titans in the Super Bowl? And is in all caps, A-N-D. It was hosted in Nashville because that's a possibility now. Never was before.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'd pay whatever it took. Man, I'm trying to be on the field, man. I'd be over there running around. I'd be like, oh, please get the Super Bowl. If we came up short, please somebody get it. And I'd be just as happy like I was playing still if they could win that Super Bowl. Just want to bring Super Bowl to Nashville, man.
I think most of our listeners would pay more for the right sports experience than they would for a concert experience. Most of our listeners.
Oh, I think that's true? So sports experience versus concert experience, which one would you pay the most? That's the question, huh? That's
like somebody to see, LeBron versus Ja, but maybe not in the first round of the playoffs or, like you were saying, like I'd really think about it because it's LeBron versus Ja.
Yeah.
But you get to like the highest level of sports, Super Bowl, NBA championship series, World Series, to see like a certain matchup or to see your team if they made it. But the fact that this is a new stadium with a top on it, so you can have a Super Bowl there, but you can't have one in the current incarnation here, but you could that way. I mean, the Rams played in their stadium, right? The Bucs played the Super Bowl in their stadium. We're over 50 Super Bowls deep. I think that's the only time that's ever happened. I don't think it had ever happened until the Bucs did it.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened. Like Florida teams had played in Florida, I guess, or California teams had played in California, but not in their home stadium.
Ooh, I would pay a lot, Mickey. I would be in that stadium. We're going to be rocking.
You've always told me this because the Super Bowl is more of like IBM sponsors the Super Bowl, so they get 500 tickets. They don't care who wins. And
right.
Budweiser gets 1,000 tickets, and they send people, and they don't care who wins. You played in your home stadium, though. I know there'd be some people there who just part of the corporate experience who wouldn't care, but there'd be people shoehorning themselves in there who were Titans fans to try to see that thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't have to worry about that. Oh, man, there'd be a whole bunch of Titan fans out there carrying. And they're carrying with their pocketbooks, too.
Lonzo said he paid $1,000 to see you guys play in Atlanta in the Super Bowl. That's a long time ago, too. That's a chunk of change.
I think I paid. We only got 4 tickets per player, so I had to pay a little bit. I think we got discounts because of players, but it's still. I wanna. My wife handled all that, so I don't even want to tell you. I think it was a discount, of, like $200-$300. Like for decency, but they were in the end zone, and they were away from the 4 that they gave you, right? But naturally, that was a big issue amongst family.
I can imagine.
But all I said was, "You tell them," because she handled it, my side and her side of the in-laws, that just be happy that you're at a game and you didn't pay nothing.
how many people tried to get tickets from you for the Super Bowl? Friends, family? How many requests?
Oh, no, I put in the request, and if you didn't get back by a Tuesday, you're off the list. That was very clear.
So you sent, you reached out to your family. Friend, y'all want to go, you got to tell me.
Yeah, and then if you came up short, when it met ding time, nope, I wasn't even answering the phone. They was calling my wife, though. She said, what you want me to tell them? Tell them, nope. Say, I said so. Too late. They too late. Sorry. Can't help you. It's just tough. That's just the way it is. Because I'm not going to be breaking my neck. I'm up here focused on the game, trying to scrabble up some tickets when I gave you a deadline. You knew.
Right.
Thursday. No, that's it, Tuesday. They both start with a T, but not Thursday. And that's how you have to be. And you have to learn that throughout the process when you're getting tickets, at games all over the place, or wherever you're playing at anyway. So they knew how it was going to be, let alone a Super Bowl. And that was in a week. Wasn't no 2 weeks.
This thing is
like,
on.
oh, we got to get a hotel. We got to drive, fly, blah. Hey, you better make sure you show up a ticket first or you ain't going nowhere.
Right, that's
on
on
right
you.
to that bar that's just like room right around the corner from your house.
This stadium's supposedly only going to seat 60,000 too.
Oh, they'll put some extras in there for the Super Bowl.
Well, they'll find a place, huh?
Yeah.
You put some temporary seating right here.
Yeah, but they're going to have all them suites. That's where they're making all that money.
There's going to be
dope.
so many suites.
Getting that
in
Lucas
place.
money. Or D'Amico Ryan's money.
I would spend, that's the thing I would probably spend the most for, would be sports. I'd spend more at this point in my life for sports than for music. Because I've seen everybody I want to see. I've seen them all. But Titans make the Super Bowl, and, you and me are working. Maybe we're not part of maybe we would have to buy our tickets and go.
Well, we would still know Lucas, so we would call
still
him
know Lucas.
And he would help us get us some tickets.
Because some people might say, well, you knuckleheads could go and sit in the press box. But I'm saying, they move on from us. We're in line with everybody else buying tickets.
Yeah.
I
would call by Tuesday.
Yeah. We'd call by Tuesday for sure.
Lucas got on that oil there today on his golf shirt, man. That looks pretty sweet.
Titans, did you say oil?
Yeah, he got the oil. Yeah, the throwback there. Yeah, the oil.
Did you see the Titans social media account today?
What were they doing? Dipping in black.
Oil.
I said I know, but are they going to? This better not be just like it was the red jersey stuff. They're going to get me lit up in here. I'm going to go H-Town Mickey.
The Oilers stuff is coming.
No, I'm talking about the black. We never wore anything black.
I think it's oil for Oilers. They're going back to their roots to Oilers.
Oh, I thought they were going to break out some black unis.
I don't want a black unis ever on this team.
I like the change up. Watch this. Ask Lucas how much those black jerseys are selling there for the soccer team. Mm-hmm.
Now,
and they're yellow. Mm-hmm.
The black jerseys.
I want the black.
Team, I like those.
Yeah. I went and bought one when I was there this past weekend. It was $169.
I bought my son. My son's like, I want a jersey. I said, okay. I said, look at these black and silver ones. My son said, no, I want the yellow one.
Right. I already had the yellow because I had it on.
Okay. Well, my son has put so many stains on the yellow one.
Man, I was like, what?
We need to start a campaign, though. Guitar players always play like the guitar riff before. We need to start that a bass player gets to do one. And I know a bass player who has a riff ready to go.
I think Dave Highway Band was playing. Well, who was playing the band at the soccer match? We're all over the place. But
all that band's playing, but like the one dude who got to rip the solo right before they kicked off the game. The match.
Yeah, the match. Yeah, man, I want to see some black jerseys. You don't want no black jerseys?
No, I wanted the black jersey, but not on the Titans. No, I want Oiler blue. I want Columbia blue. I want that. That's what I want.
I'm all about making that charity. She just needs to hire me as an advisor. Yeah, I just get 20% of all sales of all the black jerseys that she would sell.
Negotiate you down to
I would have
2%.
But guess what? Look, I'm gonna have black Oiler jerseys. Golf shirts. Titans black golf shirts and everything else in the same manner of all the things that they sell in the bookstore. I guarantee it'll be lit. And guess what? You wear it when you play the Texans. Mm-hmm. How you like them apples?
They're gonna wear the Oilers stuff.
That would be lit. Or you could wear it at like a Hall of Fame game, Christmas Day game, overseas game. It got to be a special game. Texans are always gonna be special just because we left from there.
You know who else is special?
And that's called moolah. Guess what? And I'm going to say, look, this is how I would sell it. I know you may not want to go down this road, but guess all that money that you're paying to build the stadium that you're giving to the city, that's where you get it from. It's new money. So it was never your money.
All right. The lady,
Thank you, Amy. Oh, my phone's ringing right now. I'm sorry, Miss Adam. Okay, I'm on air right now with Mickey. Okay, I got to go call you back.
All right, Teresa Walker's going to join us a little over 20 minutes. We'll ask her about black uniforms versus Oiler uniforms. When we come back, what are the ways that Will Levis could be quarterback of this team? I went back, I looked at some scenarios. I want to throw them out to you guys. Will Levis scenarios next.
Ooh, Robert, too.
It is 2:03. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Tennessee Titans made an addition to their front office staff, according to Albert Breer this morning, hiring Falcons college scouting director Anthony Robinson to join the staff as assistant general manager. He joins Chad Brinker in that capacity. Jalen Carter is the first 2024 draft pick to reach an agreement on a contract. The first-round pick, who went to the Philadelphia Eagles, lands a 4-year, fully guaranteed deal worth over $21 million. Tonight, Vanderbilt baseball heading down to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama, who just fired its baseball coach, Brad Bohannon. The decision comes after reports of suspicious wagering activity surrounding Alabama baseball games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Happy Thursday to you. So, heard from Ryan Tannehill yesterday, and we heard after the draft, Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis and Will Levis would be the 1, 2, 3 pecking order. That's what Mike Vrabel said. So I started thinking this morning, like, okay, let's think about recent guys who were drafted and how did they get to be the number one quarterback of their team. And the first guy that I thought of, because I know he was a first-round pick and he's a unique individual, is I thought about Patrick Mahomes. Because when the Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes, they had a starting quarterback. They had Alex Smith.
Oh, yeah. He went 11 too, right?
10, I believe, even.
Oh, it's 10? Okay.
So KC takes Mahomes at number 10 in 2017. They did the thing with him like the Bills did with you guys and Rob Johnson, although he wasn't a rookie at that time. Set the whole season behind Doug Flutie, started the last game because they'd already clinched a playoff spot. They let Mahomes start one game. He started the last game. They won that game. They go to the playoffs with Alex Smith, lose to the Titans. That was the Marcus catches his own touchdown game.
That was phenomenal.
That was one of the most exciting things I've ever seen because they were getting beat in that game. And, oh, gosh, the safety that knocked Kelsey out of the game, Cyprian.
Yeah,
and things changed after that. The Titans got them. They've beaten the Chiefs their fair share of times.
Jason McCourty brought it up, too, while he was up there announcing the third-round pick.
Yep. Yes, he did. Season finale, Mahomes gets the start. Chiefs do make the playoffs. They lose the Titans in the playoffs. They roll with Mahomes the next season. They traded Alex Smith, and he made the Pro Bowl that year, Alex Smith, and they still traded them to the Command Skins, who were then the Redskins. So then I thought, okay, that's unique because obviously so I'm trying to get in the mindset of down the street.
Right.
So Andy Reid was like, hey, man, Alex Smith's going to be the starter this year. And he did. He started every game till the very end when it was a game that didn't matter.
I think he got at the end of some other games too as well, though. But, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they had a clear-cut plan. You played for Andy Reid. Andy had a plan. They rolled with – even though Alex Smith made the Pro Bowl, they weren't tempted. They traded him to even take away the temptation. It's the other guy's team now, just like we planned. So then I thought, okay, Jalen Hurts, second-round pick. Hurts was named the starter in December of his rookie season after Carson Wentz was benched. They were terrible. Wentz was doing bad. They benched him, and Jalen Hurts came in and started the last 4 games. He went 1-3. He was pick number 53. So for them it was, let's roll with Wentz until we don't. And Wentz was ineffective. The team was bad.
Yeah, their offensive line was horrible. He was throwing and ducking.
Yes, he was. Chucking and ducking.
Yeah, he was chucking and ducking.
So he wound up starting because Wentz was benched. So then I thought about Lamar Jackson. He was picked 32, which was the last pick of the first round of the draft, but a similar range to Will Levis, 30-something. Joe Flacco got injured. They were like 4-5 when he got hurt. He replaced an injured Joe Flacco and never, ever gave back the job. They went 6-1 with him down the stretch. And then it was his job. Flacco became the backup after that until he got gone. So there was the Kansas City approach, no matter how well this goes, because they made the playoffs. And the quarterback made the Pro Bowl, Alex Smith. No matter how it goes, it's Mahomes' team.
Yeah, but they even still had the number 1 seed, didn't they?
They went 10-6. I don't know if they had the number 1 seed that year. I know they went 10-6.
Okay.
But because Alex Smith's record was 9-6 that year and Mahomes was 1-0. So Hurts's deal was things just fell apart. So he became starter.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar is interesting because who knows? Flacco got hurt and Lamar went in and just Lamar'd his way to 6-1 record till the end. So I just wonder, what are they thinking down there? Are they thinking the Andy Reid way? Like, oh no, Tannehill's under contract. He's going to start the whole season. And if it's, and I'd kind of written this in the corner of my notes for Tannehill. So if he gets injured or if he is ineffective for any stretch at any time, at that point they're like, okay, now go.
What happened to Malik?
He'll have a nice.
Watch this. Y'all selectively want to choose which I want to listen to Vrabel about. He said 1 is Tannehill, 2 is Malik, 3 is Levis. So none of us believe that, though, do we?
You just drafted this dude in the 3rd round. I know you drafted.
Second round.
I know you drafted him. Willis in the 3rd round, but the other guy's in the 2nd round. As soon as they get started. Does that drive you crazy when they do stuff like that? He's a 2nd round pick. Why not just say like he's the 2nd round pick? I mean he's the number 2. But I guess you can't say that because we've never seen him take a snap. He doesn't even have a helmet yet. He's never been in the building yet except for on his visit. You know, I almost said Haas hasn't issued him a uniform, but there's Haas. That was a bad one. I'm sorry, Haas. But anyway, wonder what the plan is. Because I'll say this again and again. The offensive line's better. And you and I were talking about this before the show, and you were like,
yeah, better talent, for sure.
What if they just went and found a decent receiver to add to Burks for Tannehill? And then NWI was to 3, and then all the other cats could. Mm-hmm. I was listening to OTP, the Titans podcast. They asked Chig, okay, give us a name. Who's had the best offseason around here? Who you watching the most? And he's like, and they said, oh, come on, give us one name. He said, Kyle Phillips. What if he turned out to be Kyle Phillips? Effective slot receiver, because they didn't take one. So what if he turned out to be that guy?
Yeah, that's why I kept on saying, I don't know. Kyle Phillips, he actually is pretty good. He just got injured. His body wasn't ready for the NFL, and he fell on the ground. I mean, on the sideline, a great catch.
Then that messed up his return. A person hit him. Boy, he hit the ground hard.
Yeah, that was tough sledding there. Then that messed him up, catching punts, man. They show the people say what they want to say. Then also you got to try to compensate. Just I've been there. Then you're going to hurt something else. Rest sure. So I don't know. I think it's a fluid situation, to be honest. I think they're thinking Tannehill's going to be the starter. If the team is going down a bad road, I'm sure they're going to go to the number 2, whoever that is. And I'm assuming it's going to be Levis at that point in time. He came from a more pro-style offense. Right now, you would say they're even, him and Malik Willis, and that means if you're even, he's leaving. He just got here and ain't even took a snap. So I think that's how they're going to play it. Unless something else makes them trade him because, someone's in a difficult situation from another team, injury to a quarterback. I think that's how they're going to play it out. Yeah. But I still wouldn't be surprised if Tannehill got traded if someone had an emergency injury, as I just said. Yeah. So
Atlanta and Washington are the ones that stand out to me. Atlanta and Washington as like, okay, who could come in here and run this thing? Especially with Arthur in Atlanta. If they don't like what they're seeing from Desmond Ridder early on, or he gets hurt or hits his thumb on a helmet or something, they're like, man, he's going to be out 2 months. Let's call and see what we get Tannehill for.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what team could. Yeah, it could be poor play to, injury to what have you. But I think that seems like the Titans to be very conservative with this approach, and then let Tannehill ride out in the sunset. Now, if they are like a middle of the road team, I think that's when the decision becomes really tough. Because now you're benching him, and you're benching him. Let's say you're in the middle of the season, and you're realizing, right past the middle of the season, that, you know what, we're too far back. We probably need to start developing our number 2 guy. Now you've benched him, and that's when it's going to become serious issues.
If you're 4-6 or something.
Yep. And every time he throws a bad pass, the boo birds come out. Robert and Luke is up there. Boo, boo. Yep. And then pressure bust pipes, and eventually they're going to make a move. Yeah. And then that's what makes guys get uncomfortable and everything else. Because now Tannehill's playing on not to make a mistake instead of playing freely. And I don't think Tannehill plays well when it's like that. I think he plays better when it's competition, but not when it's, pressure like I can't make a mistake. Totally different.
Well, there's some scenarios we shall see because they will hit the field all together soon, and we'll start getting to see it with all their spring workouts. You know who'll be there to cover all that is TeresaMWalker. So why don't we get a little jump start on everything with the AP Hall of Famer, TeresaMWalker will join us next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Joined now on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by our buddy Teresa Walker at TeresaMWalker on Twitter, the AP Hall of Famer. Teresa, what would be the most money you would be willing to spend to see your favorite music artist or band?
I'm going to say 150. And that's
150,
about
okay.
150, and that's because I have come close to that on a couple of occasions. I have to move my cat from trying to eat my pasta here that I'm getting ready to cook. Darn cat. I have spent in that neighborhood for Foo Fighters, Jason Isbell at the Ryman, and actually the comedian coming up at the Ryman who's got to, she had a show postponed because she's going to be in a movie with Reese Witherspoon, Leanne Morgan, a Tennessee native.
Oh, I've seen her. She's hilarious. All right, so
I can't wait to see her at the Ryman.
all right, so scalpers, stay away from Teresa. She'll pay. She will stand strong in her
I'll
belief.
hurt you.
I believe that. That cat
I'm
will
not
hurt 'em.
selling.
All right, so what were your takeaways yesterday from Ryan Tannehill? We got to hear from him. He didn't say he wouldn't mentor a quarterback or anything, but what did he say that caught your attention?
A couple things. The fact that he's been here. I mean, let's not forget. A year ago, it's like, where's Ryan? It's the voluntary portion of the off season. He was healthy to end the year before, and he, was in Florida working with other guys, and he came and joined them in May when he finally talked. This time, because he wanted, he was coming off the surgery to fix the ankle. He stayed in Nashville. He's been working with the training staff to make sure he's healthy. He's been there at the facility. He's been there for the start of the off-season program, working with the new offensive coordinator, which, also gives him a leg up on the new quarterback on the roster in Will Levis. So, it's a combination of things here. So, he's here, he's working, he's doing what he can to be ready. And the fact that, for a second straight year, it's a bit of deja vu for him. They brought in another quarterback in the draft. And the thing that makes this different is this isn't a third-round trade-up. This was a trade up to number 33 overall. And, this is, he's been through it. This isn't his first rodeo in the NFL. He's been here 12 years, and he understands what it means. And so he's here working, trying to make sure that, Mike Vrabel said Saturday night that Ryan Tannehill starts as the 1, Malik Willis is the backup, and Will Levis is the 3, and he won't even be here till next week when they have their rookie minicamp. So right now, Ryan Tannehill is trying to, make sure that he keeps that spot as the number 1. And, let's let this kid come after him.
We're coming after the knowledge from Teresa Walker, who joins us now, the Associated Press Hall of Famer.
Well, let's stay on the quarterback since you guys are talking about that, and that is, do you see any scenario where Ryan Tannehill isn't the starter for the Titans going into the season?
Blaine, I'd like to say no, but it's the NFL, which, you and I both know means not for long. And while right now he's the number 1, I mean, let's face it, I have a hard time seeing math work, with making him a post-June 1 cut. And I'm sorry, going with Will Levis with Malik Willis as the backup. I mean, for a team that went through 3 quarterbacks last year, I'm in the camp that sees this as a competitive team in a competitive division. I'm sorry, but, I'm not putting the Colts and the Texans ahead of the Titans just because they drafted quarterbacks higher than they did, with Will Levis at 33. They've got Ryan Tannehill, and they were, in good position until injuries kind of took him out of the picture. And, that's been the story of the last 2 years, right? But, you've got Traylon Burks, who is coming into a second. Him and Chigakonkwo have full off seasons with this team to get better, stronger, faster than before. Yes, that was shades of, for some of you older folks, of the $6 Million Man intro. But they get a chance to learn and study and get better. and work with Ryan Tannehill a whole off season, right? So that should help them. For all the people panicking, they didn't get a wide receiver before the 7th round. What were they thinking? This is what they're thinking. And, oh, yeah, Josh Wiley will come in. So, Kyle Phillips is back. We'll see what he can do, trying to get bigger. And when I say bigger, add more muscle rather than height, because, one thing I've learned is you aren't going to grow after you get to the NFL. I'm sorry, you're just not. But he can get more muscle. I mean, shoot, Aaron Brewer, when he talked to us yesterday, the guy known as the $2 steak, well, he's the guy sliding over for right now, trying to replace Ben Jones at center. And, he says he's around 290. He looks it. I mean, he's been lifting. You can tell his upper body is bigger. But, that's the thing. This is a team that can compete for the division title, that they were 3 minutes away from winning a 3rd straight title just last year, January, the way the season is these days. And, so there's no reason why they can't think, you know what, we've got a great defense. They were first against the run, tied for 13th and fewest points allowed. The area that they had to address was offense. And, protect the quarterback better. They gave up 49 sacks last year. God knows they should be able to do that better this year if guys just stay somewhat healthy. And then, score more points. New offensive coordinator, Ryan Tannehill's working with him. And the only hints that we got in that area, faster tempo, attacking the defense. We're going to need to see some specifics. But, goodness knows, it'd be tough to be worse than last year, right? So if you keep Ryan Tannehill this year, be competitive, and then you've got a whole lot of cap space next year. Last I looked, Spot Rack has them at 4th in the league with $88 million in space to fill any other holes and, see what you want to do at quarterback.
Yeah, and you talking about quarterback, and, Vrabel went down the list of who was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string, but they drafted a quarterback in the 2nd round. What does this say to Malik Willis and his development? I mean, they drafted another quarterback even higher.
Work hard, prove them wrong. It's the NFL. I mean, look at your draft status, Blaine. I mean, once you're drafted, the draft status goes away. Mm-hmm. It's like, for all the stars and kids coming out of high school, the 5 stars and 2 stars, those disappear once you step foot on campus. It's what you do once you arrive that determines how much playing time you get, or should, if you even stay on the roster, particularly at the NFL level. So if Malik Willis wants to show, hey, Titans are wrong. They didn't need to spend that pick on Will Levis and trade up to get him. I'm right here. Well, then go improve. Use this offseason to show that you can make faster decisions. That he was praised last year, by Pat O'Hara as being super sharp and understanding what they wanted to do. The problem was getting his muscle memory to do it so that he was doing it without thinking. And when you can do without thinking, that just shaves seconds off of the decision-making process, and you can anticipate and throw that ball faster to where the receiver's going to be, and it makes the offense better. So improve, be better, play better, and then, guess what? New offense, new coordinator, but Malik Willis has been in the building. Will Levis will be stepping in the building as a Titan for the first time a week from Thursday. So, a week from today. So he has got an edge on him. Use that and prove them wrong. But if not, guess what? Again, NFL, not for long. Jerry Glanville was never wrong when he said that.
Well, I guess one more question on the quarterback side of it, and that is, how do you view Vrabel and Carthon, with their, connection to drafting Levis? If it doesn't work, does it fall to one of those guys or both of those guys? How do you view that?
Well, it sure seems like they're in lockstep at the moment, right? So, this is the thing. Amy Adams Strunk changed out the GM, and Vrabel has won a lot, but he's won a couple division titles. He made some serious chicken salad the last 2 years. But now he's the one who made a bunch of changes in his coaching staff. He's the one who brought in the new passing game coordinator in Charles London, who, got rid of Todd Downing, probably 2 years too late for Titan fans. But he's the guy who made a bunch of changes in his coaching staff. And while the draft pick has been made, it's on Mike and his coaching staff to develop all of these guys and compete and be better. And the part that, he loves so much to do, well, let's see what they can do. And honestly, guys, I'm curious to see what they can do if they can just keep these guys, if they can have a decent year when it comes to injuries, as opposed to what they've done the last 2 years. 2 years ago, they set the record for most players used in a non-strike season because of injuries. Last year, injuries again decimated that team. So if they can just have an average year for injuries, you've got to think that they're going to have a chance to be competitive. And, let's see what they can grow out of these kids.
There you have it, TeresaMWalker, AP and Hall of Fame writer.
Teresa, we had a caller who asked Lucas to pass along a question to you. Where are you on maybe mining the depths of the XFL/USFL for potential receiving help for the Titans?
Good for camp bodies, and maybe somebody comes in and shows you something. I'm going to be more interested in the guys who are cut from current NFL rosters. I mean, there's not a long line to be drawn. The Packers' former receiver, now Jets receiver, Randall Cobb, Alcoa native, who played at Kentucky, is back with his buddy Aaron in New York. Does that make Corey Davis, a former Titan receiver, the 5th pick overall in 2017, does that maybe make him available, or somebody else? They referenced this on Saturday night when Rand and Mike talked to us about there's going to be a lot of changes. The roster, if one thing Tennessee has learned in their fans over the last 2 years is that the roster is never set. Josh Dobbs signed December 21st, and he's starting the final game of the regular season at quarterback. So, the rosters are a very fluid thing, and your best chance for talent is most likely going to be off of somebody else's NFL roster. Just because somebody's cut doesn't mean they can't play anymore. It just means that for whatever reason, they're not suddenly a fit in that scheme or that system. And in this case, I'm looking through those guys first. But, yes, they do need to be keeping an eye on the XFL because, you never know where somebody's going to come from, which is one reason why I'm looking forward to minicamp next week when we get to look. Colton Dowell, the 7th-round pick out of UT Martin from Lebanon and Wilson Central High. 6'3", runs a full 440. I want to see him. Rand Carthon made it clear that when they brought him in on the local pro day that he was out there with Power 5 guys, and he did not look out of place. So that tells me that, they really liked him. And, yes, I know it was the 7th round. I think it was the 228th pick overall. That means nothing once he gets on the field. He's going to have his chance to go show what he can do on an NFL football field and earn playing time.
On with TeresaMWalker. She always earns her playing time with the Associated Press at TeresaMWalker on Twitter. You need to follow her.
I know it's way early, but we have to do it. What were your thoughts overall on the draft, just in who they drafted and who they didn't draft it? So what is somewhat your grade, or how did you view their overall draft?
Well, I'll be honest. I had told Jim Wyatt that I liked Hendon Hooker at quarterback. They went with Will Levis. And, Mike Vrabel made it clear that, essentially throw out last year's Kentucky team because, that's a team that lost to, Tennessee and Vandy. I will admit I'm not impressed by quarterbacks who lose to Vanderbilt. Sorry, Clark Lee, but at least not this last year. You made the hay that was there to be baled. That said, they filled a big need at number 11. It's not a sexy pick when you take an offensive lineman, right? Mm-hmm. But it was a big, big need fixing that offensive line. 49 sacks. Only 4 teams gave up more sacks than the Tennessee Titans last year. So that was an area that had to be addressed. So not sexy, but man, you look at the grades and the people looking at him, the only drawback is that maybe his arms are not as long as you'd like. The quote that stood out to me from Mike Vrabel is when he gets his hands on you, people don't move. They stop. So that's a good thing to have. Whether he ends up playing at guard or tackle, you got a piece that you absolutely needed for your line. The fact that it was all offense, again, that was the biggest area of need. The defense is in fairly good shape. They signed Arden Key. They re-signed Jeffrey Simmons to an extension. They brought in some inside linebackers to help replace some guys who couldn't stay healthy. They brought in a veteran and Sean Murphy-Bunning for the secondary. So at this point, the fact that they used all 6 on the offensive side, first time this franchise has done that on one side of the ball since they went to a 7-round draft in '94. Hat tip to John Glennon for noticing that. Impressive, because that's the area that they needed. Would have liked a wide receiver earlier. That said, Spears in the 3rd round, if he plays anything like Tony Pollard, another player from that American Athletic Conference who, he's kind of a Swiss Army tool in doing everything. Guys, Tony Pollard is so good that, that if Jerry Jones didn't have so much money invested in Zeke Elliott, they would have moved on to Tony Pollard 2 years before they finally did.
Well, I guess lastly for me, and that is, what do you think the Titans are, I guess, what do you think their view is on the value of wide receivers? And I ask that because this is 2 years, it was a big need. But I'm going to just say these names: Dow, Kinsey, McMath, Chris Moore, Phillips, Robertson Jr., NWI, Cody Hollister on IR. I mean, man, that is not what I'm thinking going into the second season for wide receiver. I at least have to have some veteran presence that is a proven player in this league. And I'm not even talking about a high-level player, but a solid number 2 guy that produces in this league. What do you think when you hear those names? And
well,
Burks, of course.
They don't blow me away, but they had their Pro Bowler, and the last GM traded him away last year. So, the best receiver that they've honestly had in a very, very long time in this franchise's history. But they went the veteran route. Remember Robert Woods? And
not off an ACL though. You can't make that's a roll the dice. So yeah,
and they had Julio Jones the year before, which is why they didn't
like
have a 4th
one.
round pick. See,
no,
so
I
that's
said
the
veteran
thing.
with experience. So I'm not talking about a guy that said over year 10. I'm talking about a guy that's like in year 6, 7, and 8 that is a quality player.
Chris Moore is going to be that guy, it seems. They signed him just before the draft.
Do you think he's that guy? He just had his first year good season in his 7th year. That's good.
We're going to have to see, but that's the thing. It does feel like they're maybe not valuing, but that's the thing. When you put your money towards certain positions, Jeffrey Simmons, it limits your options on who all you can bring in at other positions. You can't go to the grocery store and get the top shelf item in every part of the grocery store.
I don't want the top shelf. I want right in the middle of the shelf, producing.
Yeah, well, sometimes you get that great bargain, and that's where I think that they're going to most likely add one of those guys before we get to training camp. I'm going to point out DeMarcus Walker, a guy who went out and got himself a really big contract this offseason. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? He wasn't signed until May by the Titans, okay? So I think that person is still out there. We just don't know who that is yet.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping. They got something in their back pocket. There you have it. Teresa Walker, she always has something in her back pocket.
Teresa, we'll let you get back to making your noodles with your cat, and we appreciate the time, and we know you're getting a little extra time off since the Grizzlies season ended much sooner than many people thought that it would, and Dylan Brooks' career in Memphis as well.
Yeah, I'll be about to get my pasta.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I've been busy and hadn't had a chance for lunch. And, yeah, I was expecting to be in Memphis for Game 2 tonight, and unfortunately that game's going to be played somewhere else. But we'll see how the Memphis Grizzlies grow up from this. They're at that point in their careers.
Well, they got some growing up to do. We always appreciate when you help us grow up with all the knowledge. Teresa, thank you, as always, for the time, and we will chat again soon.
Appreciate it, Miss T.
My pleasure. Thank you both.
Yes, the one and only Teresa Walker. All right. There is a story involving the Titans and the Falcons and a certain Titans quarterback that has apparently just kind of floated out there. That something attempted to happen during the draft but did not happen, but maybe might happen. I'm just seeing it. I'll tell you all about it next. Shake it off. Can Tannehill shake this latest tweet off? So this is I just saw this as we were finishing up with Teresa. So a story from Simon Hunter at Simon Hunter NFL. He says NFL Pro Better, co-host of the Favorites Pod. You can hear me on Action Network, and he mentioned several places you can hear him and his work. People have, I guess, caught this podcast, and this is something that he said on his Favorites podcast. So here's a story written about it on Bro Bible. The Atlanta Falcons were reportedly trying to make some big additions at the quarterback position before the draft. Unfortunately, a pair of major moves fell through. Simon Hunter of Action Network said the team had deals in place for both Kyler Murray and Ryan Tannehill, but they couldn't work out the money. Goes on to say in this episode of the Favorites podcast, Hunter said that Atlanta was searching for a suitor to trade out of the 8th pick. Tennessee and Arizona had interest, reportedly offering up their starting quarterbacks as headlining pieces. There was a ton of drama going on behind the scenes, Hunter said. Atlanta was going to trade for Ryan Tannehill. That was a real thing. Tennessee was going to give up Tannehill to Atlanta. They were going to move to the 8th spot. They just couldn't work out the money. They said the same thing happened with Kyler Murray in Atlanta. Apparently there was a deal in place for the Cardinals in Atlanta. They were going to send Murray for draft picks, and they were going to take some money on it. It didn't work out, obviously. He goes on to say this. Keep an eye on this as the season nears. He even went on, it says, to say that the Falcons could make a quarterback move mid-season depending on how the year starts.
And the only way you do that is with a person who knows your system. Yep, that's Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill could go in there tomorrow and run their system if that's what they wanted. And look, we pointed this out a bunch of times. A lot of y'all saying, just trade for another receiver. With what? With what? It's like my son goes to the mall, and he's like, I'm going to get some.
For Tannehill?
It's like my son goes to the mall. He's always like, I'm going to get some Oakleys today. I go, with what?
Yeah, right. With what money?
Yeah, right.
you got some money?
I take you to the mall, but you not make that purchase. This is what the Titans have draft pick wise for 2024. Just for if you want to draft players or if you're trying to trade somebody, this is what they got. A first rounder, a second rounder, a fourth rounder, 2 7s. That's it. That's it. It's like my son showing up with what's in his piggy bank trying to buy some new Oakleys. A first, a second, a fourth, 2 7s. Now, as TeresaMWalker just pointed out, and as Spot Track points out, they got a lot of cap money next year. So they could spend it on some free agents. But at the same time, you still want to draft some cats, and that's not a whole lot of draft capital. That's 5 picks, and 3 of the 5 are fourth round or after. And 2 of the 5, which is 40%, are in the 7th round. So if you truly think Levis is the guy, why not just get Arthur Smith on the phone and say, hey, man, 2. And he goes, 3. And you go, okay.
Maybe that was the hack, or maybe they were saying 5, and then the Titan was like, 5? For what?
Wait, I think we got bad connection, Art.
Down tone. Yeah, if they get a 3rd, that would be awesome for Tannehill. I'd make that move. And to be honest, after hearing all that, that just made me nervous. Like, all bets are off on the other 2 superstars. They were calling around to see what they were worth. They weren't hearing what they wanted to hear. But some people have some injuries here or there. You just never know. Not saying to those teams, but I think they're looking for capital at the same time, trying to let some good players go for nothing. Because eventually their contracts they're going to be gone next year. So do you got nothing? Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Contracts up, you got nothing because you know you're going to cut them. So if the contract's not up. So, yeah, this is going to get interesting here in training camp. Maybe there's a reason why they took Tajay Spears. Who knows?
BakuRay.com. Hey, man.
I don't know, man.
If you're Andy reading this thing and we gave you the scenarios of how it's been handled in some of the scenarios with quarterbacks getting drafted, Andy's thing was, we can look back and see it with Mahomes. Alex Smith is a starter this year. Mahomes is going to be there's nothing that's going to change that. They traded Alex Smith at the end of the year. You can't trade Tannehill at the end of the year. his contract is up. If you want anything from him, it's go time. Or, like the guy suggested, maybe something happens in the middle of the season. But if you're the Titans and you're cruising along and Tannehill's still the quarterback,
You ain't gonna try to disrupt.
and you're 5-3 or something because you got a rebuilt offensive line and Derek's rejuvenated, Tannehill's ankles feel good and everything, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to roll on through this year.
And rest assured, Tannehill's not happy either.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because he should have gotten an extension if he was going to be with the Titans. And he didn't, so that means adios, amigos. And he probably was like, okay, too.
Speaking of adios, amigos, we got to say that now because our goodbye music is on. We got to go.
Hi-ho, Silver, and away!
And in the meantime.
And in between time. Peace!